Rashawn. I honestly think he's just an extreme narcissist who loves power. He loves the ability.
I genuinely believe he's simply an outrageous egotist who loves influence. He cherishes the capacity to control individuals. Why, in all probability, since he was defrauded by his guide, who wanted to control individuals, and his tutor, was Andrewell to let us know how coached by Clyde Davis, same time he beat down. And what's a young lady named Cassie, or anything that he had assist by the name of Capricorn? He felt Capricorn feline was keeping his underscore on a low about on the off chance that she was playing with Kai or not. Puffy beat the underscore out that underscore not Diddy's previous colleague spilling some insane tea about him. If you all felt that the Diddy circumstance planned to subside at any point in the near future, well, you're in for a stunner in light of the fact that with his collaborators' new disclosures, it appears as though things are going to deteriorate than we naturally suspected. His aide is currently emerging for certain receipts to show how Hollywood destroyed Diddy and transformed him into the contorted troublemaker that he is today. Yet that is not all, since she is likewise emerging to uncover Andrew Harrell and Clive Davis for purportedly saying Diddy and preparing him when he originally got into the business. You all better hold on the grounds that this show is going to explode considerably more. So it seems to be there's an entirely different side to Diddy we haven't been seeing, in light of the fact that from new reports, it seems as though he was likewise a casualty. Eventually, you all expertise. He has been in the information in the recent weeks. After Cassie dropped her insane claim against him, he has been getting hauled for rottenness, and individuals have been calling him everything except an offspring of God. Now, before you all come at me, I'm making an effort not to guard Diddy or say that he isn't the troublemaker that he got uncovered, for I'm saying that he has been in this present circumstance before. However, at that point, assuming he had been in that untidy situation before, you would imagine that he would know not to pivot and do exactly the same thing to others, right? I mean, he presumably ought to have returned his to shielding individuals from exactly the same thing. Yet rather he transformed into the mean troublemaker. Okay, allow me to stall this show for you, since Diddy's right hand has had a loy to say regarding what is going on. And the thoughtful fox individual Diddy is an ever-increasing number of individuals are beginning to emerge and talk about Diddy. And we have Cassie to thank for that. Her claim is without a doubt one of the greatest and most hazardous VIP claims ever. And it uncovered a greater amount of Diddy than we realized. I mean, sure, there have been murmurs for a really long time about how Diddy is a troublemaker, and he professing to be a hero for virtual entertainment. There were discusses how his entire rebrand as Sibling Love is smoking mirrors for him to lose us about who he truly is. And young lady, the claim was next level crazy on the grounds that the things Cassie uncovered about Diddy are stuff that would have landed him in prison in the event that criminal allegations were documented against her. And get this, dislike, she was hauling stuff out of the air or making things up to shake Diddy down for cash, in light of the fact that since the claim became public, various individuals have approached to move her up on her cases. As a matter of fact, there has even been discussion about how she avoided a few things with regards to the claim. And the circumstance was way more terrible than what she painted it out to be. The claim talked about such countless pieces of Diddy and Cassie's relationship, like the way that they began dating when Diddy was 37 and Cassie was just 19 currently. I'm not being judgy, yet a man who is just about 40 pursuing a 19-year-old presumably has no decent goals. And you all can count on my promise. Like the age hole was definitely not a sufficiently large warning. There's additionally the way that Cassie was endorsed to Diddy's lab Awful Kid Records. At the time, so not exclusively, was he way more established than her yet. He additionally grasped her whole vocation, prompting a gigantic influence, unevenness in the relationship. Much more terrible, Daddy began pursuing Cassie like 5 minutes after he marked her to Terrible Kid Records. And it was practically similar to he marked her to make sure he could compel her to be in the relationship with her. And there was nothing she could do then. There's the way that she never truly turned into a major craftsman under awful kid records. And she stood out enough to be noticed as Diddy's sweetheart than for her music vocation. Diddy was additionally involved with Kim Watchman when he began seeking after Cassie at the time, so like I said, Diddy obviously had no decent expectations for her all along. And it wasn't some time before he began harming Cassie, and he immediately made her his casualty. And from the things she said in the claim, the relationship was 11 long stretches of agony for her. I mean, the court archives in a real sense had a trigger admonition on the primary page. And in the event that that is anything but a major red pennant, I don't have the foggiest idea what is young lady. I ain't at any point seen a court archive with a trigger advance notice. And that is the way you all realize that this claim will be one hot stanking wreck. One of the principal things that she said in the claim was that Diddy Isan's Ventura in her own home after she attempted to leave him frequently punched, thumped, kicked, and trampled M. Ventura, bringing about wounds, burst lips, bruised eyes, and draining constrained M. Ventura to participate in personal demonstrations with males SWS while getting off on it, and recording the experiences requested that M. Ventura to convey his gun in her handbag just to make her anxious and exhibit how risky he is, an acquainted Miss Ventura with a way of life of unnecessary liquor and substance misuse, and expected her to obtain unlawful remedies to fulfill his own addictions. Yet that was not all, since she continued endlessly about the THS that Diddy did to her, particularly about how he put his hands on her at whatever point he lashed out on one event. Mr. Combs thumped Ms. Ventura over and again in an escalade, including by kicking and hitting her. He constrained her out of the vehicle on Fifth Road in New York City. She was in the end ready to flag down a taxi and get to her condo in Manhattan. Then there's the time they went out to a dance club, and Cassie started up a discussion with a music director in the club, and Diddy got so enraged that he blew his top. Coming back, the court archives said Mr. Combs thumped M. Ventura, driving her into an edge of the vehicle and trampling her face. When the vehicle showed up at Mr. Combs' home, Miss Ventura endeavored to take off, yet Mr. Combs followed her and continued to again kick her in the face. M. Ventura was draining lavishly and was guided into Mr. Get's back homes, where she started to hurl from the vicious episode. And do you all realize the most horrendously terrible part about this? It's that he would place his hands on her before numerous individuals on his staff, and they would all reserve and watch him hurt Cassie again and again. And before you all come for his staff individuals, and how they aided and abetted Diddy's awful way of behaving, there was nothing they could don't just was Diddy their supervisor. Yet even Cassie herself uncovered that they were similarly as unnerved by Diddy, as she said these beatings were seen by Mr. Combs' staff and representatives of terrible kid diversion and Mr. Combs' connected organizations, yet nobody thought for even a moment to oppose their terrifying and brutal chief. So it just so happens Diddy was mean and savage to Cassie, as well as something of a beast to every other person around him, which ought not be astounding in light of the fact that, well, somebody who can hurt their better half that awful is somebody that can hurt anyone, and that is on period and wildly. Cassie isn't the main accomplice of his, that he has placed hands on the grounds that, from reports that we figured out after the claim, he has a past filled with putting hands on each lady that he has been with Diddy's previous protector, Jane. Uncovered how he used to put paws on his then sweetheart and child mom, Misa Hilton. So we tackle that for you, 'cause yet Misa was out there. She was meddling with other man, from EPMD, that is the reason Puff first Puff previously thump her butt. Excuse, sorry about that, no you few hello, except for she was by all accounts not the only one, since his side piece, Ginahan, additionally uncovered that Diddy mistreated her must truly need it turn sour I mean at the outset, like the initial 3.5 years. He was, I mean, like the initial multi-month, 3-4 months, he was truly pleasant, however, at that point after that he begun being a underscore underscore. So like I say, like the initial 3.5 years. He was like unkind to me, so when you say mean depicted he was oppressive. He resembled continuously disparaging me, and consistently like he was like intellectually, genuinely, and truly mishandling me. He has even been blamed for mistreating Kim Watchman. Since Jean talked about how Diddy treated Kim so greatly to the place where she at last began retaliating and protecting herself. When they were at home at Kim's home on 110th Road, he needed to, put his hands on her in the incorrect manner.